The Pentagon just signed off on $175 billion for a shield in space. Not a wall, not a missile. A shield that is supposed to stop a nuclear strike before it ever reaches American soil. They call it the Golden Dome. And the pitch sounds incredible. A net of satellites watching every rocket on the planet, ready to swat a missile out of the sky in the first few minutes after it leaves the ground. On paper, it's the most powerful defense ever imagined. But there's something nobody at that press conference wanted to talk about. Space does not care how much money you throw at it. And once you understand the math, this whole thing starts to look very, very different. So what is the Golden Dome actually? It is a layered shield. Ground radars scan the horizon. Sensors in orbit watch for the hot flare of a rocket launching anywhere on Earth. And then the headline piece, the part that makes this so ambitious. Interceptors based in space, designed to hit an enemy missile while it is still climbing. $175 billion. A timeline stretching across years. They are calling it the biggest leap in missile defense since the Cold War. And if that gives you déjà vu, hold on to it. There is a ghost hanging over this whole project, and we will get to him. First, why are they so obsessed with hitting the missile early? You have to understand how an intercontinental ballistic missile actually flies. There are 3 phases. First is the boost phase, the launch, the first 3 to 4 minutes, when the rocket is burning hard and clawing its way up out of the atmosphere. Then comes the mid-course phase, where it coasts through space, sometimes for 20 minutes or more. And finally, the terminal phase, where the warhead comes screaming back down at insane speed. Here is why that boost phase is the holy grail. In those first few minutes, the missile is relatively slow. It is bright. It is one fat target burning like a flare against the black of space. It has not released anything yet, no decoys, no fakes, and it is not split into the multiple separate warheads modern missiles carry. So if you kill it right there, you stop everything with one shot. One kill, and the whole threat is gone before it begins. So it's obvious, right? Just hit them in the boost phase. Which raises a question. If that is so clearly the best place to strike, why has nobody ever built a system that can actually do it? Well, this is where the dream walks straight into a wall. You have got 3, maybe 4 minutes. That is the entire window. And here is the brutal part. In space, there is no air, none. So your interceptor cannot bank or turn or glide like a jet. It shoves itself around with thrusters, burning fuel for every change in direction. And a rocket stage like that can only pull about 3 times the force of gravity. Sounds like a lot, until you do the math. 3 times the force of gravity for 3 or 4 minutes only gets the interceptor so far before the missile is already up in space and gone. Think about what that means. To catch a missile in the boost phase, you need an interceptor satellite sitting almost directly overhead at the exact second the enemy hits the button. Not nearby. Overhead. And satellites do not sit still. They are tearing around the Earth at thousands of miles an hour. So at any given moment, only a tiny handful of yours are anywhere near a launch site. The rest are on the other side of the planet, useless. So to keep even one interceptor in range of one launch spot all the time, you need hundreds of satellites. Hundreds, just to cover one location. And it gets worse. Because to reliably catch a single missile, you have built this gigantic constellation, and at any given moment 90-something% of it is doing nothing but flying in circles. That's the cruel joke of space-based defense. Most of your shield is always in the wrong place. Now picture a real attack. Russia or China does not fire one missile. They fire a salvo, 10, 20, all at once from different spots. Your handful of in-range interceptors gets swamped in seconds. There are not enough of them where they need to be. And then there is the money, and this is the part that really sinks it. It is always cheaper to build one more missile than one more layer of defense to stop it. The attacker bolts another rocket onto the pile. you have to launch another few hundred satellites. The economics are upside down, and they never flip in your favor. But let's say you get lucky. You get an interceptor in range, except the missile survives boost phase, and now you've got to hit it later, out in space. Whole new nightmare. Because this is where the countermeasures come in. Out in the vacuum, a missile can dump a cloud of junk, chaff, balloons, decoys, fake warheads that look exactly like the real thing on a sensor. Those decoys do not fall behind. There is no air to slow them down, so they drift right alongside the real one. On top of that, a single missile can carry several live warheads, each peeling off toward its own city. So your kill vehicle is racing in, staring at a cluster of identical dots, dozens of them, and it has to pick the one that is actually going to kill people. From far out, they are just blurs. It has to choose early, then close the gap in seconds. Guess wrong, and a city pays for it. And modern warheads can maneuver on the way down, jinking off course in the final stretch. And lasers? Forget it. A laser does not punch through clouds or rain or dust. The beam just scatters. Its power drops off fast with distance. Against a tiny warhead screaming in at the edge of space, a laser does basically nothing. Now, here's that ghost I promised you. Back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan stood up and announced almost this exact same idea. The Strategic Defense Initiative. People called it Star Wars. Same dream, interceptors in orbit, a shield in space to make nuclear weapons obsolete. And it got quietly abandoned. Not because they ran out of money, because the math never worked. The same orbital math we just walked through. So ask yourself the uncomfortable question. 40 years later, what's actually changed? The rockets are a little better, the sensors are sharper, but the physics? The physics is identical. The only thing that's really grown is the price tag. So what is the Golden Dome actually for? Here is the honest read. Against a small, dumb attack, one missile from a rogue state, with no decoys, no salvo, and no tricks, sure, it might catch that. But against the full arsenal of Russia or China, thousands of warheads and decoys and countermeasures, it is a screen door on a submarine. The offense always has the advantage. It is cheaper for them to build more than it is for us to stop it. So maybe the real value here is not a working shield at all. Maybe it is deterrence theater, a signal. Or maybe it is just $175 billion flowing into defense contracts for something that looks incredible in a render and falls apart the second you do the arithmetic. Because here is what has not changed in 80 years. The only thing that has ever actually stopped a nuclear war is the threat of getting one back. And no amount of money, not $175 billion, not $1 trillion, can rewrite orbital mechanics. So what do you think? Is the Golden Dome a real shield for the country or the most expensive bluff in human history? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to hear it. If you want more breakdowns of the tech shaping the future of war, hit that like button and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.